Bum 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 bum. Just chat with Uncle Dominic.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Just Chat with Uncle Dominic. I hope everyone has a good day today. It is a great weather today here in Taiwan. And also, I want to wish good luck to all the students out there because I know this week is your exam week. So I hope everyone will do well in their exam. Okay, so today I have a guest. If you look over here, he is here. His name is Ray Hurst. So everyone, let's give a big welcome to Ray. Hello,
Thank
Ray.
you. Hello, how are you doing?
I'm great. How's the weather where you are at right now?
Very good. It's actually getting to the cooler season. We're getting into our fall season.
Okay.
The temperatures are much more comfortable.
Fall is
And
considered a romantic season as well, right?
yes, you see the leaves changing colors.
Everything's
And so you wake up in the
beautiful.
morning, you come out, it's nice and cool, crisp air. It's a good time of the year.
It is. It is. I hope we have kind of like a fall here as well. This is not as great as what it is in America, but it's
Okay,
there. It's there.
awesome.
All right, everybody. So let me tell a little bit about Ray. Okay. Ray has been married for about 36 years, right? Is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
same
He's
woman.
sorry.
Married to the same woman for 36 years.
Well, you have to mention that it has to the same woman, of course, right? We don't want you to be married for like 5, 6 times. No, for sure, no.
No,
All right.
no.
So he has been married for 36 years. He is an international speaker, a coach, and a pastor. He was a missionary, an author, an artist, and a poet. So he has a few things that I have done myself. So I was a missionary as well. So that's a good thing we share in common. Uh,
Awesome.
yes, and one of the passion I think, and you said and you mentioned, is you want to help people to understand their owner's manual. And he has a
Yes.
website, a father's blessing, which I put it over here so everyone can go check it out later if you have time. Okay, is there anything you want to add to it?
Yeah, that's good.
That's good. Okay, well, you are also known as Papa Ray. So can you tell us how'd you get that nickname or that name at all? Papa Ray.
Yes. So in my first mission trip in 2004, I went to Brazil with a group called Global Awakening, and
Oh,
also known as Randy Clark.
okay.
And as this girl come up to me for prayer, the Holy Spirit said to me, "Stand in the place as her earthly father and bless her as your daughter." And I remembered watching a video years before that of a guy saying
Mm-hmm.
he stood in the place of a as a father, earthly father, and blessed a son and a daughter. So I'm like, hey, oh, I got this. This is easy. So I said to the girl, "Can I stand in your place of your father?" And she says, "Sure, why not?" I said, "Well, I'm sorry for not being there. I'm sorry for not loving you. Sorry for the harsh words I spoke to you." And she starts weeping profusely. I'm like, "Whoa." I bless you as my daughter. You're loved. You're accepted. You're wanted, thinking that this is going to calm her down. But that just opened a whole new floodgate of tears. And after I was done, it was absolutely amazing because she was like literally bouncing because she felt so much relief. Fast forward, I went back in 2006, same missions team, and literally every person that came to me for prayer in them 2 weeks, Holy Spirit said, "It's their dad. Just bless them as their father. Bless them as their father." I'm like, "What?" So I just saw anybody come to me for prayer. Before they said anything, I said to them, "Can I bless you as your father?" All but one said yes. I don't think that one person understood what I meant.
Hmm.
One of the girls that I blessed stayed in touch with me, and we mentored her through Facebook. And in 2010, so this is the girl that started calling me Papa. So instead of calling me Ray or anything else, she just addressed me as Papa. That's where I got the name Papa Ray.
Oh, all right.
So 2010, she contacted me. She goes, Papa, you got to come back to Brazil. I'm like, "Marjorie, what am I going to do?" She goes, "That father thing you do, we really, really need that."
Mm.
So by now, I had really perfected a little better of what we do and what we say and how we do it. So in 2010, I went back for my first of 4 solo mission trips to share the Father's blessing. It is where I stand in the place of a earthly father, and I speak blessing starting from conception, first, second, third trimester, birth, infant, toddler, youth, adult, all the way through their life. I've done that now for thousands of people. And I'm telling you, we have seen radical transformation when then people hear them words being spoken.
Hmm. I understand that because I feel like everyone else requires a father figure, or everyone else is always seeking for someone to understand them, to get
Yes.
close to them, to be related to them somehow. So what you did, I guess, actually gives them blessing. Well, by giving them blessing, you actually bless their lives by having someone there standing on behalf of, I guess, their fathers or any relations that they have. Like you meant a father or an uncle or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Very
we've
good.
seen, if you get into the psychology or how the brain, what's wired, the wiring in your brain, you could call it,
Mm.
is we all desire to belong to something. And when we don't feel the connection or the belonging to something, we're going to go out and look for it in other things, in other places, in other ways. You can see a lot of successful people in the world are driven to be more, to be recognized, to be lifted up. But when you look behind the curtain, it's because of their emptiness.
Hmm.
They're so driven because they're empty. They're very empty. On the surface, in front of the curtain, they look amazing. Making money, have the house, have the cars, you know, the pretty picture, everything looks good. And you get behind the curtain, wow, it's not good at all.
Right.
They're very broken, hurting, very deeply hurt people.
But there are some people who are like me who who require some money that will be
Yeah, well,
great in
sure.
their
Money.
life.
I believe everybody should have more than enough money. It is my desire that everybody would have more than what they need. And I have nothing wrong with, making lots of money. It is
For sure,
just
for sure.
if you look closely, a lot of successful people are driven, and sadly, they built their success at the expense of their families.
Hmm.
Now, you can make a lot of money and have a good life and have a good family. Now, hopefully, we can unpack that throughout this here. Uh, very important. It is possible. It's very possible.
Exactly. So, in order to get all that, I think it comes to our topic, which is today seeking to understand ourselves better. So, I guess if we understand ourselves better, we can actually, go about and get all those things or gain things or knowledge that we need, right? So, I need to put in the quote here by Aristotle, so everyone can see here. So, I'll put it up on the screen. I'll read it to you. It says, "Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom." One more
Come
time.
on.
Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. And this is by Aristotle. I really like this quote because it is exactly what we're trying to do today. We're trying to seek to understand ourselves better. And Papa Ray here is going to help us to find that thing to help us to understand ourselves. So, what do you think about that quote? And what do you think we can do to seek to find ourselves?
I love it. That is so powerful. And as a personal transformation coach, I like to tell my clients, I'm going to teach them to understand their owner's manual.
Mhm.
Meaning, how does your body, your soul, which is your mind, will, and emotions, and your spirit work together and against each other? And if you don't understand the emotions, the emotions are going to take you sideways every single time.
Mhm.
So if you look at creation, and Adam and Eve are in the garden, they had no shame. When God created Adam and Eve, they were naked, and it says they had no shame. Now that's really critical because shame is a very, very powerful emotion. When you go into the next chapter, it says God was walking through the garden and he called out to Adam and said, Adam, where are you? Adam said, we heard you coming and we were afraid. Again, very powerful emotion. Now, note, before taking the fruit of eating or the fall, there was no shame. They were not emotionally driven. After the fall, they are emotionally driven. So it's really, really critical that we understand that we are created to be spiritual beings, but unfortunately, we are emotionally driven. So that means we got to understand our emotions. If we cannot control our emotions, we will never be able to maintain a spiritual high or spiritual superiority. God designed us to be spiritually superior and dominate in the spirit.
Hmm.
Now, if you look at the Elijah syndrome, Elijah did an amazing thing, calls down fire from heaven, kills 600 prophets of Baal. Elijah was on a spiritual high. Now watch what happens here. He gets a text message from Jezebel. I'm going to kill you. And he's like, he freaks out. But in all reality, you can imagine from the time the messenger went from Mount Carmel to Jezebel and back, could have been 3 to 5 days. What happened to Elijah? Elijah left 70 people down on the highway. He said, guys, you hang out here. I'm going up in this mountain, seeing what's going on up there. Taunts the prophets of Baal, calls down fire from heaven, burns everything up, kills the prophets. He's in a spiritual, whoa, he is up there. 3 to 5 days go by, potentially. What's happening? He is coming down from that spiritual high to a more of a norm. And now he could even went into a bit of a low because all that excitement, he's tired emotionally, physically, he's expended. And so he's kind of walking around like, what am I going to do now? There's really nothing to do. He gets the messenger, comes to him and says, Jezebel's going to kill you, man. And he's like, Now watch this. He runs into the desert. And this is the really, really critical part. God spoke to him like we're speaking to each other. God could not change his mind. All God could do, God didn't say, come on, Elijah, you're my man. You got this. Come on, get up and refresh yourself, eat, and come and follow me. He couldn't. God couldn't change his mind. But what did God do? He provided for him. He sent an angel. The angel couldn't say to him, hey, come on, brother, you know what? It was a bad deal. You didn't really understand what happened. No, he couldn't. God had to allow Elijah to process this thing in his own mind till he was ready to come back and follow God and do God's work. Very, very critical. We have to understand what emotions do to us. An emotional low will take you out of a spiritual high in a heartbeat. A spiritual high will never take you out of an emotional low. You cannot override, the spirit will not override the emotions, but the emotions will override the spirit every single time. So as much as I want to teach people and lead them into spiritual highs, I want to help them understand emotions. So if you could imagine, everybody's trying to break this glass ceiling. Everybody wants to be more, do more, and they're trying to break this glass ceiling. So before I say this, Chris Voss was the head negotiator for the FBI. He says, you will fall to your highest level of preparedness. It's not if you fall, it is when you fall. Now look what happened to Elijah. He fell where? To his highest level of preparedness. Now, what happens if we would instead of trying to break our glass ceiling, what would happen if we would raise our floor? What would happen if we would just keep digging into ourselves and saying, where did I fall to the last time? Why did I fall to there? Why wasn't it up here? Why wasn't it up here? Why did I fall that low? So we don't like to look back. We want to go to the ceiling. We want to break the glass ceiling. But what happens if we raise the floor? Doesn't the ceiling automatically raise up when you raise the floor? Absolutely. So so the question is going to be, well, Ray, how do I raise my floor? I'm glad you asked. It's really easy. We have to look at our last point of failure. Okay? We got to really unpack it. Here came an event, a person did something, I seen something, the market crashed, whatever happened, it doesn't matter. And here is how I reacted. Now we got to unpack, and it is called the simple step, the hard process. We got to ask ourselves, why did I do that? And I call it the simple 5 steps. I need to stop. I need to say, Ray, what are you thinking? Why are you thinking that? Is it true? What is the truth? Let me say it one more time. What? Stop.
Stop.
What are you thinking?
What are you thinking?
Why are you thinking? Is it true? What's the truth? Now, here's the key. If you never get to the why am I thinking that? If you never get to the why, you cannot fix it. It's impossible. You got to get to the why. You can know the what, you can know the how, but if you never know the why, it'll never change. Stop. What am I thinking? Why is it true? What's the truth? So unfortunately, I don't know if you guys get stuck in the mud when you're driving your car. Like over here, we have snow and mud, and you're driving your car and you get stuck.
If I'm going 4-wheel driving, probably, but no.
What's the first thing you do when you get stuck?
Reverse.
You step on the gas. You try to go fast. You try to spin your way out. What do we do when we get stuck mentally, emotionally? We try to outthink what we're thinking. Our mind starts to race here and racing there and racing here. We're trying to outthink all these things. Here's the problem. We have as many as, on an average, 40 thoughts a minute. Now, what happens when we just start thinking, and we're not getting anywhere? We need to stop and say, Ray, what are you thinking? Why? Why are you thinking that? Well, I'm thinking that because it reminds me of when my dad, here we go. When my dad did that, that's what it reminded me of. Oh, okay. Why are you thinking that? So here's the key. If you really want to unpack, you write down, what am I thinking? And then you answer, why am I thinking that? Whatever you write down, why I'm thinking that, you ask yourself again, why am I thinking that? Whatever you write down, you say again, why am I thinking that? Do that at least 5 times, and you will get back to what we call the core. The core of your life is from conception to 10 years old. When in the core, your brain is in hyperneuroplasticity, simply meaning your brain is sucking in tons of information. It's not able to put it in categories. It's not able to say, well, that wasn't really reasonable, and I understand that he didn't really mean that. No, it's just like, phew, there it is. That's what that means. Well, guess what? That quick, another thing is happening and another meaning is being attached. We don't really have the processing capabilities to categorize it or rationalize it. It's just, there it is. That's what it is. Now, the problem is whatever you take into your core at that age is a permanent memory for the rest of your life. Now, here I am at 60 years old. Here comes an event. My brain does a research of my whole life, and it happens in a nanosecond at the speed of light. It says, here comes the event. Whoa, what does that mean? So my brain does this research. I remember, boom, 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 all these events that I perceive is about to happen based on what I believed in my past. At the speed of light, my brain does a calculation. This is not good. It wasn't good before. I don't think it's going to be good now. Releases neurochemicals in my body, cortisol and adrenaline. The adrenaline makes you stronger, speeds up your heart, makes you get into the stress response, the fight or flight. Cortisol takes away your cognitive thinking processing ability. It takes your brain's ability to process data from 720 bits of data to as low as 20 bits of data in a heartbeat. That quick. Based on the information, I see this event, my brain does a research, I don't think it's going to be good because it wasn't good in the past. My neurochemicals, cortisol, adrenaline, my cognitive thinking drops. Guess what I'm doing? I am responding in the least amount of brain activity and creativity possible. That is why you see very intelligent people do things that make you say, why did he do that?
Well, I guess in some ways it's all about experience, right?
Now, it is what do you believe happened in the past is what you will project that you believe will happen in the next moment. This is why, so there's a lot to unpack to get to this point. We have to go back to our core, conception to 10, and we have to change the meaning we gave back there. The Word of God says, you shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. So that would mean, if I am not free, somewhere I do not have the truth. Somewhere. Where's that at? We always find it at the core, conception to 10. And it's really easy. It's a simple step to hard process. We go back. We get that person to give that event a new meaning. An example in my life, my father left my home when I was 4 years old. I would tell people all my life, I'm abandoned, I'm rejected. 7 years ago, I went through my second major depression. I was 5 minutes away from suicide. After I come out of that, the Holy Spirit spoke very, very clearly to me and said, Ray, nobody's coming to fix it. I'm like, whoa, massive paradigm shift. 3 days later, 4 days later, he said to me, Ray, they were broken and empty. They couldn't give you what they didn't have. That right there was the biggest paradigm shift that I've had. And that in itself has helped us to help other people. Now what I do with my clients, I get them to take a white coffee cup and write the people's names on that hurt them. And I have them put the cup in the bag. We go out on the sidewalk and we throw the bag down. I have them throw it down. And they pick it up. We go back inside and I say, now, take out these broken pieces and look at that. Now remember, all those people were broken and empty. They could not give you what they did not have. And you can see the shift in their thinking. They're like, oh my goodness, they are broken. They are empty. Because a whole and complete person would never do them things. And what it did to them, it took away the blame and the shame that they were carrying, that somehow that they were the problem.
I'm going to stop you there for a second, Ray, because I like the idea of the broken, what they are broken and they couldn't give you what they have or they don't have it. But in some ways, I feel like what you're saying earlier is a bit contradictory because it feels like they probably have it, but they don't know it, right? Because they don't understand their emotion. And so, if I, for example, I have children of my own. So if I were gonna teach my children, and when they grow up, they're gonna say, "Oh, my dad is not a great dad because he didn't do this." Mainly, maybe because I have it. I have what I can to teach them, but I didn't do it because I can't say that I'm broken. I would say that I don't know that I should do it, right? So I don't understand myself enough, right? So I guess in some ways I don't quite agree with the total thing that if someone is they can't give you what they have or because they don't have it. I believe that everyone has it. It's just we cannot find it. And so I tend to tell my students, I tend to tell my students that they have what it takes to learn a language, or everyone takes have what it takes to learn language. It's just you need to put an effort to it. And I always say this: I can teach you for 5 days a week, 10 hours a week, whatever, but you will never learn the language or you never learn the lesson unless you actually put an effort to it. So
Yes.
in this way, I feel like if we go back to our topic, we truly need to understand ourselves. And I love the emotion things that you mentioned through the Bible, where they find most of their emotions mainly because from spiritual needs. But there are other people out there. I'm gonna say for the viewers out there, there are people who are not religious, especially in Taiwan. There are a lot of students or people who feel like they are religious but they're not. So how will they relate to it? How can they find themselves?
So the key is really going to be is you can say anything with your mouth,
Mm-hmm.
but if you don't really believe it and feel it in your heart, it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
The key in everything we have to find is where is the emptiness and the void in my life? Where am I feeling unfulfilled? Where am I feeling empty in myself? So we have to look at what am I doing? Again, I got to stop. What am I thinking? Why am I thinking that? Is it true? What's the truth? No matter your spiritual beliefs, this all every single human has to say. I mean, I'm a devout Christian,
Mm-hmm.
and I profess Christ as my Savior, and it is my desire that everyone would be this way. But no matter where you are or what you can say anything with your mouth. But if you don't truly have it in your heart, you don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just words. I can say I'm 10 foot tall and bulletproof. Well, yeah, that ain't gonna work.
You might be 10 foot tall. I don't know.
No, I'm not. But again, so how do I find the truth to receive it into my heart? So I know a lot of people who are professing, so I can only speak in what I know and what I experienced. So I see a lot of people professing to be followers of Christ. But unfortunately, it's very evident by their actions, they're not. But why are they not? There's a disconnect that when an event occurs, they do not respond appropriately. Why are they not responding appropriately? Because there's something broken. There's a missing piece. So it should go like this. It should come together like this. But it doesn't because it's not in alignment. There's something wrong. There's something that's broken. So what is broken? It's all back to the emotions. As a coach, and I've helped people have radical life changes in just a few hours. What do we have to do? It's always back to the core. It's always back conception to 10 years old. So critical. It is a wrong belief that we allowed to settle into our mind. And you know what? We spent our whole life running away from that pain. We don't want to look at that pain. We're like, no. I spend all this time hiding from it. Why do I want to dig it out? The problem is when your brain does the research at the speed of light, it finds all them pieces and it makes it a part of the final calculation. And it happens so fast. The problem, we have to eliminate the lie that we received. It's not easy. It's not fun, but it's so important if you want to live a whole and complete life. Now, I'm not saying being super wealthy. I'm saying whole and complete. If we are not content, naked and alone, whatever I need to feel content becomes an idol.
Mm.
Do I need another car? Do I need another house? Do I need a gold watch? Do I need a necklace? Do I need friends? Do I need 5,000 followers on my YouTube or on my Facebook?
I
Or
do need
what do
that.
I need?
5,000 followers.
What do I need to be content? Now, there's nothing wrong with having 1 million followers. Nothing wrong with being a billionaire. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. It is, do you need it to be satisfied?
Mm.
Then it's become an idol. Hey, I wish everybody would have way more money than they need so they could help other people. I wish everybody had lots of money so we could eliminate world poverty. That would be amazing. That would be awesome. My point is, if I am unhappy, if I am discontent, when I don't have this and I'm miserable, then everything that I need to be happy is simply an idol.
Mm.
So it's, how do I find that? Is I got to stop. What am I thinking? Why am I thinking that? Is it true? What's the truth? It's a simple step, but it's a hard process to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Means you got to take a look at these events that take you sideways, that hurt. And you're like, ah. And I'm not saying that it doesn't hurt. I'm saying, what do you do about it? How long do you let it take a hold on you? How hard do you let it take a hold of you? We should be able to loved one passes away. Yes, that hurts. I got it. There is definitely a time of grieving. We must grieve. That's very, very important. But don't stay in that place of grief. We need to move on. What's keeping us captivated? And if you unpack it, again, I can't say this often enough. Stop. What am I thinking? Why? Is it true? What's the truth? So, yeah. So the Father's blessing really speaks into that core, because when we start the blessing, we say, I apologize for not being there for you. I'm sorry that I didn't love you. I'm sorry I didn't listen to you. And I'm sorry I wasn't able to help you more. What does that do? That speaks let's just be real. I'm a father. There are no perfect fathers. We don't do everything proper. Again, our child's taking all this information in at the speed of life. And we don't know to stop and go back and say, hey, I really didn't mean that. That's not what I meant. Mm-hmm. Life just goes on. Remember, our brain does the research of everything, comes back with a conclusion of what we believed about the past to project to what's going to happen in our future. So when I stand as that father and I apologize, it breaks down that shame, that fear, that anger, that frustration. And they're like, oh, wow. So then I go into, I bless the I bless the time of your conception. You're not a mistake. You're not an accident. Bless the first trimester, you're loved, you're wanted, accepted. Second, third. So we're speaking truth into every single part of their life. We have seen dramatic transformation as we speak life and blessing and acceptance into the time of the womb. It's absolutely amazing. Again, we're finding the lie, speaking the truth, boom, setting them free. If you're not free, there's a lie, and all we do is speak truth. You shall know the truth sets you free.
Exactly, that's true. Thank you. Thank you a lot. I really understand that, and I hope our viewers do, especially the younger viewers out there. Most of the time, they don't appreciate what's going on in their life, and so they don't really understand that it's important. And I often tell my students in my school that they need to reflect upon not the things that they have done wrong, but most of the things that they have done during the week and what they could do better the next following week. And so, but most of the time, most students, I say teenagers, I guess, they don't really care so much. They just feel like what is going on right now is more important than in the future, or until something bad happens. And I truly hope that most of my viewers out there, all my students that are watching this today, that they stop, like you said, stop, think about it, why they do it, right? And the 5 steps of reflection. So I hope everyone does that. All right. So we're near at the end of our show. Is there anything you want to add on for the ending?
I have a book coming out. It's called Daddy,
excellent.
Why Don't You Love Me?
Okay.
It's a father's blessing to a son. Another book is a father's blessing to a daughter, Healing the Wounds of the Absent Abusive Fathers. And that's going to be up on Amazon here in a couple weeks. Hopefully, I'm going to get the pre-order up there here this week.
Okay.
So if you're struggling to feel accepted or loved by your father, this book is really to help you overcome them feelings of not being loved and wanted. So very, very important.
All right, everyone. So you heard that. Yes, 2 books. 2 books, right? Is that 2 books or 1 book?
Yeah, so it's one to the son, one to the daughter.
Okay, so there are 2 books, 1 to the son and 1 to the daughter. So get those books on Amazon, or check out his website right here, fathersblessing.info. I have it on here, so you can go click on, check on it, and then
So
find
the books
more
are not on
information.
Amazon yet, but they will be very shortly.
There we go. So I want to end today with a quote, and this is by Stephen Covey. So I think a lot of people know Stephen Covey. He wrote the book 7 Habits. This is one of the habits that I think is the 5th habit. It says, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. It goes well with our topic today as well, seeking to understand ourselves better. I think it's truly important for us, especially for students out there when you go into the work field in the future. One of the tough questions they will ask you is, can you tell me about yourself? And then we are going to be like, oh, I'm this, I'm that, but they will ask you, what can you bring to the job, or what can you bring to the company? That is when we truly need to understand ourselves. And so we can better prepare to, move on to a better life, I guess, or get a better job or better things. And I want to thank Papa Ray again for joining us today and Just Chat with Uncle Dominic. And I wish everyone have a good night and have a good week. So goodbye.
All right. Bye-bye. Have a good day. Bye-bye.